been talking to myself again. But it's the only...
Good evening and welcome along to NUFC Matters. It's Monday night, which means it's ladies' night, so it's good evening to Katie, Samantha, Sav and Kendall. How are you all doing?
Hi.
Good, thank you.
Hi.
Good to have you all on, and as always, we're looking back at the last 7 days at Newcastle United, and we'll start obviously with yesterday's wonderful match against Wolverhampton Wanderers, Katie. So give us your glowing assessment of Steve Bruce's latest tactical genius.
It was amazing, wasn't it? Wasn't it amazing? So different to how we've played ever. So great. I was like, I saw the lineups and I was literally like, okay, we've got attacking players. This is fantastic. We're actually going to go into a match and we're going to really go for it. But then the whistle went. We didn't go for it at all. It was dull, boring, normal Newcastle football. I don't understand really what he was planning to do. I don't know. I felt like Maxi wasn't basically in the match most of the time. He definitely needs to play more on the wing. I didn't notice most of the players. As usual, Wilson was completely isolated by himself. So we're never going to get any goals because no one can get to him. It was always going to be a draw because it was at Wolves. And we always, is it like, Christ knows how many years since we've actually managed to get anything from them there. I just thought it was dull, boring, unentertaining football. Very predictable with these substitutions. You could almost guess them. I was dead excited because I thought these are the players I've been wanting on at the same time. I've wanted Miggy, I've wanted Fraser on at the same time with Maxi, and I thought this is it now, perfect. But no, it didn't work out at all. It was just dull and it was just boring. And luckily, Wolves have been playing really well, but I didn't think they played that well yesterday. So if they were on form, I think that we could have probably been down quite a few on them. But no, it was boring and it was rubbish.
Yeah, okay. What about Jacob Murphy? I mean, he got his goal. I put a tweet out last night. I thought, he didn't have too bad a game, and he took his goal well. I was really impressed with his interview afterwards at the end as well,
Jacob Murphy has been one of them players that whenever you see him on, he really does impress me because you can tell that he wants to play football, and he's pushing himself more and more. He played out of his position yesterday, which I think may have been an actual blind fluke that it's a good actual position for him. I loved after the match when he was saying that he did his own research on the keeper. That's the kind of football players that I absolutely love because they want to improve their own game and not just wait for somebody else to do it or rely on other people to do it for them. I've always been impressed with him. I would like to see him start more, and I'm hoping that he will start more. And it was a sexy little free kick. I didn't expect it. I didn't think he was even going to take it. I thought it was going to be Miggy. I thought Miggy will take this, and he took it, snuck it in, and it was all. And he literally, it was so cute as well when he his reaction as well, because you could tell how much it meant to him. That is one of the goals for definite. I would have loved if there was actual fans there to have seen that. I think that would have been amazing for him. I think it'll give him a really good confidence boost as well.
Yep. Okay. Thanks, Katie. And not a swear word in sight. So you've obviously been practicing during the week. You'll have upset some of your swearing fans. But Samantha, give us your impressions of yesterday's game. We started with an attacking lineup. I mean, we all expected something a bit more positive, but we didn't really start attacking until we went a goal behind.
Yeah, to be honest, if you kind of picked it apart, it was a better performance than we've put in recently. None of us knew the lineup. Whenever they dropped into formation, it was banks. I mean, we were a bank of 5, we were a bank of 4. I was a bit worried early on that we were going to get hammered, but as Katie said, Wolves weren't quite on their game. So we were solid, but we created nothing. Like, there was just nothing going forward. I thought St. Maximin was really poor. Thought he was very selfish. He had no interest in trying to bring anyone else into play, but the players were trying to get the ball to him, and it just wasn't working. So, I think we set up for a 0-0, and it's so frustrating that we wait until we go behind and then we go for it. And actually, I watched a little clip of an Andy Gray interview today where he kind of gave the same assessment. You know, what's the point in waiting to go behind to try and attack when you've already got those players on the pitch? So all in all, we've played a lot worse, but it's just really worrying that no matter who we put on the pitch, they just can't pass to each other. They can't try and make their way up the pitch. Like, we had 4 wingers on, and our attacking stats were abysmal. But Jacob Murphy, kind of even before he scored the goal, I'd said on Twitter that I think he was the man of the match. Thought he played really well. I think the pressure of not being a right winger helped him, because he didn't offer too much going forward, but he was very solid in what he did. And I think Mickey had a good game, but nobody really covered themselves in glory. And, you know, a point away from home is always a good point. But when you look at just the way that we play, there's just a whole lot of nothing about it. And I don't see how he improves, because he's regressed to a back 5 again. When he continually tells us he doesn't want to play like that, and he wants to play a back 4, and he wants to have more of an attacking threat. Yet here we are in game 6, and he's back with a back 5. We looked solid, so will he actually change it? Or is this now the way that we're going to set up with all these players that he's asked Mike to put his hand in his pocket for? I just don't see how the luck can continue, although it probably will, and will look like the worst fans.
Andy Gray had a right pop at Steve Bruce in the way that he'd set up and the way that he's been setting up this season. Lots of questions and things coming in from different people watching. I agree. I've got to be honest with Steve Beckwith that the free rule for ASM, Samantha, is the way forward. But I don't even think he was bothered yesterday. It looks like he'd signed his contract and wasn't interested in, in playing for Newcastle United yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, he asked for this role. He said it's his best role. I was really excited when the news came out. I hadn't a clue where anyone else was really going to play, but I thought ASM would get a free role. And I just thought, yeah, same as you. And I said it at half-time in a comment on your show while you guys were watching it. He didn't look bothered. He wasn't interested, and he was very selfish. It was either he was doing it or he wasn't. And I'm actually surprised he lasted as long as he did. But then, I mean, who are you bringing on for him? But yeah, I thought it was a real opportunity for him, and he was really poor.
Billy Miller says he had to write 3 positives and 3 negatives for an article, and he was struggling to find the 3 positives. Sav, it wasn't a feast of football. Once again, Bruce Ball really seems to be annoying the supporters.
Yeah, no, when I saw the lineup, I was actually really excited. I was like, do you know what? It does look a bit mishmash, but we asked for a change, and it was certainly a change. And I thought that the dynamic would change, and that we'd actually be playing more attacking football. But it was just like what we normally watch. There was no fluidity. We couldn't string more than about 4 passes together without giving the ball away. We couldn't go forward. I was expecting Wolves to go ahead because I was just thinking, at one of these chances, they're just going to bang it in. And obviously that happened. But I think Murphy played well yesterday. And the curl on that free kick was amazing. That was a really good free kick. And I don't know why we haven't been starting him. I have been thinking that for a while now, because I actually think he's playing really well at the moment. And considering, most of our other players are really poor, I think that he would actually make a change to us that we need, even though there wasn't much of a change there yesterday. He was one of the positive things that came out of yesterday.
He's come back and he's just knuckled down, hasn't he? And he said he was putting the hours in on the training pitch. He actually said he was nervous about playing yesterday, but that he got a phone call from his brother and that he'd put him in the right frame of mind, and he went out and performed to the best of his ability. But it's quite clear he's a Newcastle fan. He wants to do well for the club.
Yeah, he definitely wants to do well. And it was even like, as you know, like Katie said, with him saying he'd researched up on the keeper, you know, that's a really quite smart thing to do. And you could just see when he scored that goal, that just meant everything to him. And, you know, as you say, he has knuckled down, you know, since he's come back. And I think he's a player that is actually one to watch for us because, you know, I think there's a little bit of morale issue going around, but he's one that you watch and he really wants us to drive us forward.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, well played to him yesterday. It was really, really good to see, especially him being a Newcastle fan there. Coming to you now, Kendall. Your assessment. I know you had you on your show yesterday with your granddad as well. Your granddad, a man of
an appearance.
A man of few words, and an invisible man to the audience, but he got his opinion across in one simple word.
Crap.
Yeah.
I was like, what do you think? He was like, crap. I was like, okay.
I think he's been watching Katie on a Monday. So what was your assessment? Give us your assessment of yesterday's game.
Well, when the lineup came on, I was thinking, wait, what the hell is going on here? I think literally there was 15 formations flying around Twitter. No one knew where anyone was meant to be. Someone said Fraser was going to be right back, and we realised Murphy was going to play wing back. I literally just didn't actually have a clue what was going on, to be honest. I don't even think Sky knew when they put the formation on either, because they had it all mixed up and all. So I was just honestly didn't have a clue. We wanted him to make changes, and why does Steve Bruce just do the exact extreme to what you want him to do? We wanted him to make changes. We wanted him to go attacking. Then he literally just went and put like 5 attacking players on the pitch, and then I figured out that, yes, he was trying to match up to Wolves' formation. But obviously, the night before, I had done a pre-match with 2 Wolves fans. And they had said if we played defensively, that they would really struggle to break us down. Yes, like if we played them. So then I was thinking, no, he's done the wrong thing again. But I said it'll probably be either a Bruce masterclass or it'll be a complete shambles. And he's come out of it. He's shit out his way into another 6 months of the job and another point away from home. So yeah, I didn't really think the football was too great watching it yesterday. I don't think anyone did. As we've all said, Murphy was a bright spark for me yesterday. But to be quite fair, if I'm being very honest, he would probably have been nowhere near my lineup yesterday. He probably would have been on the bench for me. So that's shocked me, and it's obviously a pleasant surprise that he's done so well. And at least he's not a big fake fan like Steve Bruce. Like, you can actually tell that he wants to like play well for the club. That obviously going off and doing his own research just shows what kind of caliber of player and what mentality he has. Because, I mean, I can speak for some of the people involved in our club. Don't do the research. Cough, cough, Brighton. But yeah, so the mentality of him yesterday, he thoroughly deserved it. Just going back to a comment before that someone had made about ASM in a free role, I do agree that I think he needs a position properly, because him playing centrally just was here, there and everywhere yesterday. I don't really actually know what his sort of thought process was yesterday. He was trying to take on 3 players at a time, losing the ball, 3rd player on, which he does do quite often. And I've said in the past a lot that his final third's very inconsistent, and that is where he needs to improve to become the player that we all know he has the talent for. So I do agree. I think he needs to. The wing is perfect for him because he can direct the ball in. But unfortunately, obviously, there wasn't Shelby there yesterday to give him any passes forward. And when we don't, I know Shelby's inconsistent, and a lot of people have their opinions, including me. But when he's not on the field, and when he's not lumping a long ball up to Wilson, which is normally the case, he does offer us creativity in midfield, which I don't really think that Hendrick does or did yesterday.
What did you make of Hendrick? I was going to ask you. He seems to be getting a lot of stick from our supporters, and it seems that people have been quite quick to judge him. They've already chosen the narrative of he's a squad player. They're listening to what some Burnley fans have said. It's hardly time to judge a player after such a small amount of games, and especially when he's been playing out of position. So I mean, I don't know. What was your view on Hendrick yesterday?
as you say, it's hard to judge because he has been playing out of position. We've had so many different formations. There's not a settled structure of the team yet to judge players on because they are here, there and everywhere in different positions. So while I do agree with that, yesterday he was just, I wouldn't say he was bad. He didn't have like a poor game or did anything wrong, but he just didn't do anything. Like he just, what confuses me about him as a player, but obviously, as you say, we haven't seen him in his normal position. I don't know what he brings to the team. I don't know what positioning improves in the within the team. So I do kind of get the contrast of him being a squad player because as of right now, I don't know what he brings to the team. I'll be happily watching him to see what he does if he plays in his right position. But at this current time, I just really don't know what position he improves on. And I think it probably, I know obviously Sean Longstaff and Hayden were both on the bench yesterday coming back from tonsillitis and an injury respectively. But I think probably maybe, I don't know, I think maybe I wouldn't have started him yesterday. But hindsight's a wonderful thing in Steve Bruce as well. So yeah, I just want to see what he brings really.
Well, if you haven't watched the game and you want to watch it back with our wonderful commentary, you can on the channel. Just look for the match day live against Wolves. Mike Stewart points out that was some good stats yesterday. We read a lot of them out as they were coming up, but this one I missed. And one of them was that's the most possession Wolves have had in a game since the last time they played Newcastle, which of course was under Steve Bruce. Nah, exactly. No surprise there at all. But yeah, that's another point in the bag. If we want to be positive, I know a lot of people are saying that, and yeah, horrendous to watch. But it's another point towards survival. Before we crack on with the next topic, I do want to mention the T-shirt, which qtechshop.co.uk kindly have made 3 one-off T-shirts. Together with a ticket for the Christmas do, which of course is now a sellout. And all of that's in aid of the food bank. So that T-shirt went up on Twitter a couple of days ago, and it's currently at £150, which is great. George Mitchell has bid that, which of course is Neil's dad. He's been in fine form, but I think it's at about £150 now. So we're going to close that down 5 minutes before the end of the show, and we will announce the winner and then arrange for that money to be paid over to the food bank. So thanks very much. We have got 2 more T-shirts over the next 2 weeks to raffle off, to auction off. Sorry. So hopefully, we might be able to make a few £100 for the food bank over the next few weeks. But thanks for everybody for joining in. You've still got just over half an hour to go if you want to join in the auction and try and outbid George. Let's look at Mike Ashley then. Our illustrious owner, who very rarely says anything, has been at it again today. And I'll read you this just in case you haven't seen Mike Ashley's press statement. He's talking about pay-per-view. And he's basically said, I am calling on the Premier League to immediately act and review its current pay-per-view arrangements for live matches in the UK. Charging £14.95 for single televised matches in the current climate is not acceptable to any football fan. Supporters have overwhelmingly rejected this offer, and the Premier League must now act. Why not make it a much more accessible at £4.95 per match until Christmas? The government should waive VAT on the above pay-per-view matches so that as many of those who are unable to attend matches in person can at least watch their team. The profit from the above reduced price pay-per-view option, I would suggest that 50% would be retained by the Premier League and 50% would go to the football pyramid below. As a club, Newcastle United did vote in favour of the pay-per-view proposal. But to be clear, this was because there were no realistic or any viable alternatives put forward to enable supporters to watch matches. So, what's your views on that, Katie?
What's going on?
2020 is wild, like literally.
Like literally, what's going on? I never agree with Mike Ashley. What's going on? Like, I don't understand. Something's going on because he's never ever like that. Absolute fair play to him or whoever has done it on his behalf without him knowing about it. Maybe. Yeah, I've read it before. I was beyond speechless. I was like, "Nah, was that money in Mike Ashley's account, or was that Mike Ashley?" And I was like, "Oh no, it was from the club." I was shocked. It actually made me like I'm not proud or anything, but I was like, I very much agree with it. Doesn't change what he's done for the last 13 years at all. But yeah, I agree with him, and good on him for actually saying something about it.
Stu reckons 4.95 is still a rip-off. I've got to be honest. I don't see why we should be paying for it. You know, a lot of us are still paying for season tickets at St James's Park for games we can't go to. So for me, I don't understand why after, you know, the back end of last season was free, why we should be paying for this.
See, that I'll never understand. But at the same time, I can't really complain about it because I don't pay for football. I use my mate's Sky Go and I stream. So I don't pay for it because I don't have to. I don't think that we should be paying for it. And if they are going to go down a payment route, it should be $4.95, like, I don't know, a month, like Netflix or something like that. I don't know, that they should be able to do it free. They obviously have their reasonings, but the fact is I think a lot of people would prefer $4.95 to $14.95.
Yeah, good point.
You're obviously still going to get thousands of people subscribing for it because you are getting people that are getting it for pubs and stuff like that. So you'll never get a whole blackout on it. But if they do it at $4.95 and they do follow the route that it is split 50-50, to be fair, I'd quite happy if that money went down the line.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. I just disagree with paying for football, and like most people, you do find other ways of watching it. Keith makes a really good point. We're on our way up, girls. Only 16 shots against Newcastle's goal yesterday, which is down from the average of 17 this season. Thanks for that, Keith. Samantha, Mike Ashley, he's spoken again. What did you make of it?
My personal opinion is if you think that Mike Ashley made that statement with the fans in mind, then you need to give your head a wobble. Why does Mike Ashley say anything? He's having a pop at the Premier League. It's all part of a game. He has no interest in the fans. He still has their season ticket money. He doesn't care. He just wants to get a statement out that's having a pop at the Premier League. That's all there is to it from me. He hasn't miraculously changed overnight. It's been 13 years. He's a businessman. Someone said it. He loves a discount. Brilliant. But he's not doing it for fans. I don't believe that he cares about the football pyramid either. He's just put a statement out, having a pop at the Premier League, and it gets his name back out there again. And some fans will think, you know, he's changed his tune and he's different. And he only does things that serve himself.
Yes, I'd agree. You know, he's a king of PR, certainly, 100%. Sav, what's your take on Mr. Ashley's statement today?
Yeah, I completely agree with Sam. You know, it's nothing to do with the fans. He's annoyed because he didn't get his 300 million, and you know they sort of stood in the way of that, and he just wanted to take a pop at them. And I think, you know, he has been very strange recently. You know, starting to turn up at matches and, you know, things like that. I think it's all part of, you know, something else. Like, you know, as I completely agree with Sam, you know, he only serves himself. He's just one of those people. And I think, you know, it's got him noticed again tonight. People will start to question themselves on how nice he is. You know, I don't think you should have to pay for it given the current climate anyway. And I think the fact that they're asking fans to pay on top of Sky and BT subscriptions already is ridiculous. And I think he's just trying to make it look like he's speaking on behalf of the fans, but actually he's sort of speaking on behalf of his own agenda.
Yeah, Alan Miller says if Ashley was that charitable, why not agree to give it to a food bank and be nice? Yeah, fair enough. Rich comes up with a suggestion I've seen before. The best solution for pay-per-view games would be free. However, season ticket holders should get a code as they're not able to attend despite paying, but other fans pay £5 a month or something more affordable. Yeah, it's a season ticket thing, I think, which gets a lot of people, Kendall. What's your views on it?
Yeah, I completely agree, because obviously I'm one of those people who are paying season ticket money. So I do agree with that, but I don't think really anyone should be paying it. But at least, I mean, $4.95 a game is still off to me. But Mary's £4.95 a month, that would have been way more acceptable, as Katie says, and like a Netflix, which is what I said from the very, very, very beginning. That would have been way more like easier to digest than £14.95 a game. But as everyone said, Ashley only ever has his best interests at heart. He only does things to help him. He only does things to help his business. It's never about helping the fans, or he doesn't really care about the football pyramid, because if he was really bothered about the football pyramid, then he would have helped his own club, which he hasn't. So, yeah, I just think it's a whole, you know, he's trying to come across as this reasonable man, and that he really is interested in the ins and outs of the football fans and things like that, because obviously he's trying to protect his brand now. We know now that he's more active than ever in trying to pursue a sale of the club. So everything he's done up to this point is to go towards that. It's nothing because he cares. He doesn't want to go at the games. He's just there because he wants to look like this brilliant owner who really, this football club is so brilliant that he wants to, you know, be there. And it's not true. He's only there because the fans aren't there at the end of the day, because if the fans were there, then he wouldn't be touching foot in St James's Park. So yeah, I don't think it's a genuine statement, and it's got ulterior motives as usual. But well, I mean, he spoke a little bit of sense, despite not being, you know, fully aware. But he has spoke a little bit of sense. Whoever's put that statement out on his behalf. So yeah.
The man or woman with the best name on the channel. I'm not going to say it because obviously then I'm just stupid. It is a good name. You've got to be honest. Free as a part of your subscription for your selected team. $4.95 if you want to watch other matches. Again, it's another good suggestion. John B says if people are paying for Sky Sports to watch the football, I don't see why you need to pay more to watch a one-off game. But I do like that idea. That if you've got a selected team, I mean, you can do that on these apps. Selected team, Newcastle, you get your information coming from Newcastle, and if you commit to that, I don't see the latest from the Premier League today on all of this. Just out of interest, after obviously this is what prompted Ashley to come out and say something was an article by John Cross in the Telegraph suggesting that the Premier League were going to agree to it being reduced to a tenner per match, although we're going to make a suggestion that it was reduced to a tenner per match. And, the viewing figures allegedly were very good for the Newcastle United against Manchester United game. And they've said that it was 40,000 people took up the option to watch it at £14.95 a head, which, you know, is a lot of money. And if that was the kind of stats that they got, then you can see why they're going to continue with it, and why probably a tenner is probably more likely than £4.95. But we will wait and see. I do also want to touch on Chris Sutton, who is obviously somebody who hasn't got problems with his eyes, unlike Tim Sherwood. But he did say that Steve Bruce was creating anti-football yesterday. In a direct quote from Chris Sutton, of course, who played so famously with Alan Shearer at Blackburn, he said, "Was that not anti-football today? They were so negative and so boring. They were awful, weren't they? There wasn't a lot of intent. I'm a big fan of Steve Bruce, and I think he's done a good job. But come on, that was pitiful from Newcastle." So at least, he might still be a big pal of Steve Bruce's, but at least he, didn't sugarcoat what you can't sugarcoat. It was absolutely awful football, and we better get used to it, because at the moment I don't think Steve Bruce is going anywhere. Which brings me to the next topic, Katie, and that is Takeover. Yay!
Bye.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've got to mention it. It was a big week last week. There was bits of bread being cut up again, and there was Jamie Rubin, which I suppose was the most interesting one, resigning from Queen's Park Rangers, and then, basically telling everybody that it was because he wanted to protect the Queen's Park Rangers fans from, wasn't fair on them if he's been linked with another takeover. Well, if that was the case, why didn't he do that, way back in, June this year? What's been your take on everything that's happened over the last 7 days?
My take has been avoid it, Katie. Avoid it like the plague. Because it's all slotting really nice, and I don't know what to do, because I've said to myself 1,000 times I'm not getting involved in any form of takeover stuff, but I can tell it's sucking me back in. it is because I keep on looking at stuff that I'm not supposed to be looking at. I don't know. I can't help but think that now us as fans, especially on Twitter, have got to that point where we will look into everything in so much detail. And you could literally put anything on and we will find something which will relate that picture or that message to the takeover. I even started looking at Sam's bread picture today to see if I could find anything to do with it. And I'm like, oh my God, what are you doing, Katie? It's Sam's.
Brilliant.
It's like, so the art slot, it is weird. If this was something like the crime dramas, like I know Kendall's been watching The Staircase, I'd literally be all over it because you look into the tiniest little things. It's all so coincidental.
Is that what you've been watching, Kendall? The Staircase? Sorry to interrupt you, Kate.
Mm-hmm. I'm
Have you
massively
watched-
into crime stuff because I did forensic science at uni, so...
We'll make sure you click on the crime section on the podcast and watch David Rudolph's interview that I did because I interviewed him a few months back now, but that's good. Sorry, Kate.
It's fine. I didn't want to talk about the takeover anyway.
You didn't. Good stuff.
So I don't know. I'm sticking out my hole. I'll find it interesting. I'll look at it and pretend I'm not looking at it, but I'm not holding my breath. I'm not counting my chickens. I will wait until someone is stood on that pitch with a shirt.
Okay, you haven't changed your position at all, which is good. Samantha, has Jamie Rubin's resignation from Queen's Park Rangers given you an extra spring in your step with regards to the takeover?
I thought it was very interesting. I made a joke about it on Twitter. People didn't take it very well.
That's all right. I thought it was funny.
So, I think it is another part of the process. I don't know how quick it's going to be. There's different people have different opinions, but I think it's interesting, and I don't believe his reason for leaving because, as everyone said straight away, well, surely if you were that worried about UPR fans, you would have made this decision 6 months ago. Has anything changed recently? I don't know, but my position remains. I just want it to happen so that I can make a loaf of bread and put it on Twitter without Kendall violating it with all the alternative meanings.
I saw it, I was like, I have to do it.
Yeah, there's it. Sometimes you can see the funny side in it, but there's so many people that are on the edge that just don't find anything funny and have a pop at you. So I'm still sure it will happen. Willing seller, someone wants to buy, other people if you believe other sources. I just don't know when. I'd love it to be in the next couple of weeks. I don't know if that's realistic. I can't wait for Steve Bruce to leave and start to watch proper football again.
All I want to say, Samantha, is when you're making bread and you post something on Twitter, you should use your loaf when you post those kind of things. Katie, did you enjoy that one? That was for you.
He's been thinking of that for 33 minutes.
I was going to be a baker when I left school. They said there was good dough in it, but I didn't bother. Sav, what's your view on the takeover? Not my comedian skills.
Well, if you asked me, I'd say, I've distanced myself from it. I'm not paying any attention because, I got excited at the beginning of this year. It didn't pan out, it went through all disappointment. But if you actually watched my behaviour, zooming in on bits of bread, trying to find some alternate meaning, I sat there for half an hour. It's sad. It makes sense. I've got nothing to do. I haven't really, but I've sat there for half an hour looking at holes in bread, trying to think there's got to be something in this. And then,
in case it's like one of them little hidden messages, and
I thought there
look
was
at the right hand
one.
side of the screen.
Yeah.
You know what? I am the person to find this. I'm going to find it, and everyone's going to think, "Wow, Sav knows her stuff." But no. I try not to, and I try and distance myself from it. I can't help it. I do think there's something very suspicious going on in the back of my mind. The roadmap that was posted with the Manchester to Newcastle directions on it. I thought that seemed quite interesting that they would put that even as a joke. I don't know, because they know that everyone else can see it. So I do think there's something going on in the background. You know, how long it's going to take, I'm not sure. I'm not overly excited. I'm just investigative right now, because I think any excitement will just be followed by disappointment, and that's sort of where I'm standing at the moment.
Okay, Kendall.
Yeah. I always have said, I think I posted the other day when that whole thing happened, I said, until I literally see Mohammed bin Salman in the middle of St. James's Park centre circle with a black and white flag floating above his head, I'm just not even going to be bothered, because I cannot be bothered with the stress again, the highs and lows of what happened. I just genuinely can't. And then things like Breadgate happened and Jamie Rubin Gate happened, and I'm just thinking, oh my days, it might actually literally be a thing. This is a problem. The hope just kills you, because no matter what you do, you try and have a little bit of excitement, but you can't help it because you just want it so badly. But my issue now, again, is that despite, yes, before it was being played out in the media, it's now not being played out in the media. It's now being played out on social media. Like, if it was all behind closed doors and nothing was said, amazing. But then you've got the blooming QPR chairman posting Marcus Rashford, Manchester and Newcastle. I'm just like, this is my problem, because I just think, we all had an issue before that it was being played out in the media, and the media were getting stories before anyone else had heard, and now it's just, I don't know whether it's just a big joke and people are just doing things on purpose, or whether something has happened and they feel free enough to do that because something is happening, and they're not just doing it for like shits and giggles, for use of a better pun phrase, I mean. But I don't know, I'm trying not to get excited, but things are going on, and the fans are getting excited, and I just think it'd just be cruel and a very horrible person to joke about it on social media if nothing else is going to go on, knowing the way that we all behaved beforehand.
Yeah, fair enough. The other big news story in the last 7 days, Katie, was of course Steve Bruce and his interview, where he talked about potentially wrapping it all in, and I won't be here much longer. So, Katie, I mean, did that get you excited when Steve came out with that
Sylvester
interview?
Bruce.
Sylvester Bruce, or whoever he is. Always gets a laugh, doesn't it? Always gets a like.
I thought I never saw. I think it was you. I don't know whether it was on the show or your tweet that I hadn't seen it. I hadn't seen anything about it, and then I was like, so I went and I watched it, and then I watched it. So I watched it 14 times. I don't know why, but I was.
It's very specific.
I don't know why. It's 14.
Because we 14
I
on the table.
have to do everything on an even number, or it has to be number 9. Obviously, because of my owl. So I kept on watching. I was there thinking, did he say that? No, he didn't say it. By the end of it, he was saying something completely different, because I've watched it that many times, and I was just like, all right, okay. I don't know. You never know how to take it. I'm there thinking, is it? But then at the point is where we're at now. Do you want some? It's hard, because obviously I don't want to watch Bruce football anymore at all. But do you want someone to come in now with the fact that we probably won't get people that we'd want in? And if the takeover is to happen, do we want someone to come in now to slot in for a little bit and potentially miss out on somebody else if we don't? I just don't know what to do. But I'd just like him to. He can stay, but just not do anything apart from stand still. And nobody, and he's not allowed to make any decisions, and just stand still like a cardboard cutout. He can stay and do that, and everyone behind him, apart from his actual team, because they don't seem to be very good either. Other people can make the decisions, and he just stands there. That would be fine for me. Obviously, facing the other way as well, so we don't have to watch him. But I don't know. I can't work it out, because I thought potentially, is this it? Is he just saying it because he's on a bad streak? Is he saying it because there's, again, something going on in the background that he knows? Or is he just saying it because he wants to have that? That's what he's hearing from the fans, because he's doing a lot of fan interaction at the moment. So is he saying that because everybody's basically saying Bruce out. It could be a million different things. Nothing's ever straightforward with Newcastle. I'd like things to be very black and white, but we're the most unblack and white team ever. So,
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
Always a
100%.
grey area.
Yeah. Samantha?
First time I heard it, I kind of thought that maybe he was talking about retirement. And I thought, well, that's probably good for a whole number of clubs. Because, you know, you hear all his mates coming out and saying, you know, they really like him. You know, he's a great manager. How many of them would like him to manage their club? I couldn't imagine it would be very many. But then a bit like Katie, I didn't go to the extent of 14 times. But I listened again and again, and I just thought, he's being an arsehole. He's having a pop at the fans, which he likes to do now. These thinly veiled jags at the fans because, you know, we question everything really because everything needs to be questioned. And I honestly, the only thing that was missing was a smirk on his face while he said it. In that, you know, he's not going to be in the job much longer because according to us, he's shit and he should be fired, which is true. So, you know, I would like to think that it had a bigger meaning, but I honestly just think he was having a pop at the fans.
Okay. Sav, what was your take on Steve Bruce's interview?
So now it's interesting to hear Sam say that because I hadn't thought of it that way. I struggle to believe he's got the intelligence to be that smarmy and smug. I don't know. I took it that he'd had a bit of a slip up and he hadn't meant to say it, hence why he corrected himself so quickly with what he was saying. It just felt like he'd lost himself for a moment and then he caught up and he was like, oh no, actually I don't mean that, I'll be around for a while yet. But he didn't say where he was going to be around for a while. You know, so to me it sounded like he didn't think he was going to be, you know, at Newcastle for much longer, but he would be around for some time. That's how it came across to me. But as I say, I don't know if it was a slip up. Now Sam's given me that different point of view. Now I'm questioning what I thought in the first place. But no, it did. That's just another thing added onto the suspicions of the last week, to be fair. It was very strange.
Yeah, it was. Kendall, Steve Bruce's interview. Were you excited?
No, at first, because I did the exact same as Sam. I thought it was about retirement at first, because when I first saw, I saw it quoted like on Twitter, and I thought, okay, it must mean he's retiring soon. But then I thought, actually, that's pretty good news, because I mean, soon. How soon? Soon? Does it mean Christmas? Does it mean next season? Does it mean 3 years? Like soon could be any time. But then after he said it, he sort of had it uncomfortable, like, and then like sort of re-said it in a different manner. And I thought, this is all happening a bit too close together for me. Like all these, how can they all be coincidences? Well, that's what I'm hoping anyway. But yeah, I really don't know. I do definitely agree. I think it was just because obviously the question was aimed at the fan abuse that he gets. Well, not abuse, but the fan questions that he gets. So I think it was definitely sort of, oh, I'll say something here just to, you know, rile them up a little bit more, because that's just everything that's been happening in the past week. I'll just feed into them. Whether or not he really did think that, because I mean, it was very on the spot when he said it. So whether or not he did think that, I don't know. But personally, even if this does go to the end of next season or whatever, I really don't think that after this job, he will probably get anywhere near a job of this level again. Well, unless he's going to do a Roy Hodgson and manage into his 70s, I just don't know. But yeah, I can see both sides of it really. So we'll just have to see in the next coming weeks what happens.
Yeah, we always like to get questions put in from the chat, but we did get one inbox to Samantha, which was about Dubravka or Darlow. And obviously, you know, Darlow has done well, Katie, since he came in and took over from the injured Dubravka. So, you know, when it comes down to it and Dubravka's fit for selection, would you keep Darlow in or would you bring Dubravka back?
I don't know anymore. I don't know. I think I'd bring Dubs back in. I don't. Darlow, was it me or did he use the completely other hand yesterday? With that goal?
He did. Yeah, he was criticised for it a lot as well by a lot of people.
he's bound to get criticised for it because it's a goal that's gone in. He has been playing really well. He has surprised everybody. I think I was one of the people that picked Gillespie over him before the season started. But I don't know. There's just something I do feel a little bit more safer. Though it's that I do like the fact that he saved a penalty against Man United. I'm gonna have to flip the coin because I literally can't make it. They've both got
Steve Bruce tactics.
Yeah, I'm going down Steve Bruce's way. Literally, I'll put them both on. That's what I'll do. I'll put them both on. They both play in the right position. They can both play at the front. They can go up with Callum Wilson. We'll do that instead. We'll stick Joe Linton in goal.
Wouldn't be surprised if that ever happened. I literally would be like.
No, Samantha,
I'm looking forward to seeing Dubravka back, to be honest.
Yeah, me too.
It's been exciting, but when it comes to the stronger teams, so it'll be interesting to see what Darlow's going to be like against Everton, because they scare the hell out of me. So I'll probably have a better answer next week after that match, actually, to be fair. Ask me again on Monday.
Okay, I will do. Samantha, your take on Dubravka and Darlow?
Dubravka all day long for me. And, Darlow's done really well. Surprisingly, I didn't really rate him. I think he's given a really good account of himself. That being said, the amount of shots that we let teams get in, I think it's given him that opportunity. But for me, there's a real lack of leadership in the back line at the minute. And I don't see Darlow being that voice. And I think Dubravka is just a better all-rounder. Yes, he does make mistakes that make me scream. I worry when he comes out for any ball coming into the box. But, if he can get back to the kind of vocal form, I'll never forget the first game he played when he came in against Man United. And it'd been so long since I'd seen a keeper be so commanding, be so vocal. And in those first games, he screamed at our defenders or our players if they passed the ball back to him. It was very much like trying to get the team going forward. I don't think he's shown that under Bruce. I don't think anyone shows that under Bruce. I actually don't think they like to pass the ball forward. But I think we need that leadership because, I don't want to go into another debate about Lascelles, but he's not that player for us at the minute. So I think we need somebody at the back that is a voice really trying to keep the team switched on and pushing forward. And just for me, Dubravka it shows that more than I've seen from Darlow. He's got a beautiful face. He's got a lovely smile. He looks lovely in his pink top and he's played really well, but he's not a commanding keeper for me.
That's a great assessment.
It was like when I said to George Culkin he wanted comments about Hayden, and I just wrote a big serious paragraph, and then I wrote underneath, "Oh, Andy's delicious." He was like, "Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about that bit, but I'll take the rest."
Sav, what's your take on the keeper situation and Dubravka or Darlow?
Darlow has played really well. Actually, he's exceeded what I thought he would, do as playing as a first keeper whilst Dubravka's been off. But I would take Dubravka back. Like Sam says, with how he shouts at everyone and gets everyone in order, there's no leadership. Sometimes you just see us run around just all shouting at each other and no one knows where they're supposed to be or what they're supposed to be doing. I think that we need that at the back. And, we let so many shots at us, and Dubravka has been solid for us, but then so is Darlow. Yeah, but no, I do think I would have Dubravka back. I think the way that he sort of commands from the back there is actually, quite beneficial to us, considering sometimes we can be really crap at defending. So I think we probably need that. And I also agree that Darlow does look nice in his pink top, but I also quite fancy Dubravka, so I have problems all over the place, to be honest.
Kendall, your take on the goalkeeping situation, please.
Well, I had said a few weeks ago that I don't think it would have been fair for Dubravka just to get in straight in after his injury, because I think Carl Darlow's done quite more than enough to, show that he's a very, very, very decent and acceptable number two. I do agree. I hadn't really thought about, Dubravka's sort of commanding personality, which he does have. I've said in the shows a few times before that he, for me, I think it was when we spoke about 2 months ago now about who should be captain if Lascelles wasn't. And I said it was a rarity that a keeper was a captain, but obviously Lloris was the sort of example at Tottenham. So I do actually agree with that. I hadn't thought about it along those lines before. And I do agree that we could do with a commanding presence, because our manager doesn't even give a commanding presence on the field. He looks like a passenger in the game to me. So any sort of instructions or a voice for any player on the pitch now would be so useful for us, especially when yesterday we were playing a formation and a sort of system that we're not used to, and a few players are running around a bit headless chickens. So that would be great for us, and I do agree that I don't think Darlow is that voice. Whether or not that comes into his game in the next couple of fixtures before Dubravka's back fully, don't know. Can't see it happening. He's never sort of been that type of keeper. He's just done his job and went. So I'd be very curious, but I don't think it would be fair as soon as Dubravka's back to be like, right, straight in. I don't think that's very fair. And Steve Bruce is all about being fair. He's all about his man management. But yeah, considering the stats Dubravka's given us the past 2 years, the saves he's made, how good he has been, because I agreed with the comment that was on earlier. I do think he's one of the top 5 Premier League goalkeepers. So he does deserve to be back, but they both deserve to be there. But I think Dubravka just edges it just for his sort of his own man management, I guess.
Okay, last 10 minutes. Just to let you know, George is still winning the race for the T-shirt. It's a wonderful T-shirt, a one-off, and obviously a ticket for the Christmas do as well. All money going to the food bank. £150 is the winning bid. So well done, George. We will put another T-shirt up for grabs tomorrow. Big well done to George for that. It's a wonderful donation to the food bank. And quick shout out to Darren Baldwin Funerals, who've sponsored the show over the last month. As I say, that's coming to an end this week. Local independent family business, 24-hour service. And a big thanks to qtechshop.co.uk for all their help with the T-shirts, which you can still buy at newcastlelegends.com. And of course the mugs as well, which he's put up at $9.99 on newcastlelegends.com as well. So big thanks to John, and thank you for doing those T-shirts. The food bank are now £150 richer. Thanks very much for doing that, George. Top man. Katie, looking ahead to Everton next weekend. Sunday kick-off again, 2 o'clock, once again on Sky TV. A home game. Not that it makes a blind bit of difference in these COVID times when we can't go to the match, but what you've said already, you're a bit concerned about that game. It's a tough one, but they have just lost at the weekend. We might be playing them at a good time.
No.
They've got Pickford in goal.
True. No. I don't know. This season they scare me. I just don't. I can't see us. I can see us either going literally a few down straight away and not climbing back up, or I can see it being the same as to what happened in the Man United game, where we hold them but play terrible football and then they get them in. I just can't see us getting past Everton, and I kind of need it, because I did say last week that we'd be getting 6 points and we've got 1, so I kind of need it, but I don't think we'll win, and I think we'll struggle, and I think we'll make some shocking decisions, and I think we'll get some cards back out, because we've not had many cards in the last couple of games, but no, I just don't think that we're going to get anywhere with it. I hope to God I'm completely wrong. I really do. Can I just ask a question? Have I swore at all tonight?
No.
Thank you very much.
Not once. Are you doing it are you doing a sponsored no swear or something?
No. Nathan said if I didn't swear, he'd buy me Nando's.
Oh, very
I said
good.
it was easy, so
Very good. Very good. Okay, well, you've got 5 minutes left, so we'll see. Nathan, I'll try my best to wind her up. Samantha, your views on the game coming up at the weekend?
Well, firstly, I think Nathan's going to have to buy a Nando's for Katie. She's done very well tonight.
it has actually been quite hard.
You know, if it wasn't Steve Bruce's Newcastle playing Everton, I might have a thought that it might not be a loss. Because they played Southampton. Southampton had the perfect game plan. So, you know, I'm not Everton's biggest fan, and Dave from Australia and I have many arguments about how good Everton are, and I just think that there are a couple of players like I just, you know, you get Pickford wound up and he'll make mistakes, and I don't see anyone on our team that'll do that now. I think we'll be vulnerable at set pieces. I think Calvert-Lewin will have a field day no matter how many defenders we play. So I don't know what plan he's going to have. You know, I almost think he'll play pretty much the same team. Maybe he'll bring Longstaff or Hayden in, but I think he'll have the same setup, and I just don't think it'll work. Wolves were off their game. They haven't been great all season. Everton had, you know, a difficult game against Southampton because of the way they played. I just think they'll pick us apart between the lines. I can't see us getting anything from it. I just don't think he has a plan. I think we'll probably be 1-0 down in the first 20, 30 minutes. And then we'll start to try and play, and I think they'll just pick through us. So I would say it'll maybe be 3-0 Everton. I can't, unless he does something drastic tactically, unless, you know, Steve Agnew has something up his sleeve for the team. I just can't see anything happening because we're so flat, we're so boring, we're so, you know, structured but unstructured that their flair players will pick through us. And if we do end up, you know, giving them set pieces, we'll just not be able to deal with Calvert-Lewin in the air.
Fair enough. Okay, Sav, your views on the forthcoming match this weekend against Everton?
Yeah, I'm quite concerned about it because, like you said, you know, they got beat at the weekend. But you think about, you know, how Man United, I was really hopeful against Man United, and it still sticks in my mind. After they got that whooping, I thought, oh, they can be really down. And they wasn't. They just took us apart piece by piece. And, you know, we're not playing exciting at the moment. We're not playing, you know, we're not playing well at all. You know, as has been said, Wolves have been off their game. And it's just been, you know, I'm just dreading it, because if I have to see that Pickford smug little face after completely beating us, I think I'll just bash my head into a wall, because I cannot bloody stand him. And I just don't want to see it. And I think that, out of everything, is the bit that's annoying me the most. It's making me rageful already, and it's not even happened. But I just can't, I can't see us. I wish we could, but I just can't see it. Okay.
Kendall?
Yeah, I agree. I'm worried on a number of levels, just because obviously in the last two games they've had red cards in both games. Obviously Richarlison will still be banned, and so will Digne, who got a one, was it yesterday or the day before? So I don't want another terrible foul on, for example, say Maximin or Wilson, for example, because then we are basically stuffed for the rest of however long. So I'm worried about that. On top of that, though, they have them two players out. So, you know, James Rodriguez didn't look too great against Southampton. I think he had picked up a knock the week before and he just wasn't on his A game. Whether or not that he'll have now rectified that, watching that back, and be now on his A game, then we are, with him and Calvert-Lewin, there's just no chance against us at all. Like, we'll struggle depending on how he sets up. I think they've probably got one of the best forward attacks in the league at this current time based on form. And we are currently letting in all them shots. So what's going to happen, I really don't know. But the way this league is going this year, there's so many anomalies and so many random results that it could go our way. So I really, really don't know where it's going to be. But if I'm being realistic, I think it's going to be a beating. I do agree with 2-3 now.
Katie, what's your prediction? I didn't get your prediction or Sam's prediction.
Me and Sam have got the same, but I had 3-0.
You went for 3-0. Samantha, yeah, okay, you went for 3-0 as well. Okay, can you just do you want to finish off then, Katie, just by reading this guy's name out?
So I can't read.
Well done. You've achieved your mission with an hour of no swearing. I know some people will be really, really pleased, other than Nathan, who now has to spend a fortune on Nando's.
I cannot wait for next week's show. I am so looking forward to it.
She saved it all up.
Superb. Okay, I will be back tomorrow night at 6 o'clock with Liam Kennedy. We'll be getting some updates on various things. I do want to say a big happy birthday to my mate Steve Howie. He's obviously been on the show on many occasions, busy with Premier League duty these days, so unable to come on as much as he would like to. But yeah, big happy birthday to Steve. Terrific servant for the club. Should have got a testimonial, but an all-round top lad for a Mackem, it has to be said. Girls, been an absolute pleasure as always. Always great to have you on. Look forward to speaking to you all again next week. Until then, have a good week. Take care. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.